Hi everyone, it's been a couple of weeks since I shot any video on the house, and done a little bit of work, not a lot. It's just been way too hot here in Melbourne. Um, but anyway, I'll go around and I'll just show you some of the stuff we've done, if I didn't cover it in the last video. So we've got pretty much all the quads up there, a couple of holes repaired, sanded back. So, you know, it doesn't look pretty at the moment, but it will once it's all painted. So all that's in, all the quads in around here, new board above the door. Still have to go around and tweak a few things. You can see there the gap sealer didn't quite cover it all. From the angle I was standing on, it looked like it did, but when I came round and had a look at it the next day, a couple of little gaps there, so we've got to deal with that. Got the bracket for the downpipe, bigger bracket, much deeper than the shallow one that was originally down here, so that's worked out nice. What else? I think I shot that in the last video. We've got one vent in. I've got to go around the whole house and do that. Sanded all this fascia back where we repaired it, all the gaps and nail holes and stuff like that. What else? Still haven't cleaned the brickwork down. All the quads on around here. I have to repoint this top course though. Tried my best not to damage that top row of splits, but nailing in quads one of the hardest things to do, I reckon. And I did fuck the bed joint up, so I've got to repoint that, but only back to about this point here. That's all good from there on. It's just this little section here, we've got to repoint that. Sealed up all the fascia boards here with some liquid nails. Just got to give it a little bit of a sand back, just to get any lumps off, any dags off. But yeah, all the cement sheets back in. As you can see, we've had to put a new piece in there, had no choice. So yeah, it's all coming together. Gave the back door window a clean about a week ago, but it's been a little windy here and stuff, so it's sort of covered in a layer of dust again. Moving into the house. So I've started painting this door, sliding door. We're just using a flat ceiling white on it, which I've used throughout the whole house. Brings up these doors really nice, but it does soak up a lot of paint. You've at least got to give it 3 coats of paint before you've totally sealed it. There's some spots here, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, it just looks like dark spots that haven't been covered. But if you let this dry for 2 hours, as the paint can explains you should before recoating, it tends to settle and it gives you a more uniformed appearance. Whilst it's wet, it looks patchy. So anyway, in here I've gone round, I've washed all the walls down, taped up all the power points and light switches, all the skirting boards out. That's all sitting, that's all painted. Still needs to be pre-drilled, but it's all painted. And that's all sitting in the lounge room now, all nice and protected and out of the way, so we don't damage it. Yeah, I'm just about to start painting here. Did some plaster repairs up the top there. If you remember from one of the very first videos, the cornice was cracked. I've put a couple of coats of paint on that cornice, but you can still see through it. This paint's fairly decent brand. Pascal's a fairly decent brand, but it just seems that it's not a very thick paint, so you have to give it a few coats to sort of seal it up. I still haven't worked out what we're going to do with those bubbles in the roof yet. I haven't spoken to a plasterer yet to see whether you can actually like slit the paper to relieve it, cut it out, patch it. I don't know what to do with that yet, but it's not a concern. I'm not really worried about that. Now, if I need to or if I can do anything with it, I can do that at a later stage. Not much here, guys. Just repaired one other crack there. Looks like it's still cracked, but it's not. It's actually filled. So yeah, got me paint there. I'm about to start in here. I'll start cutting in, and when I've done that and we've got some paint on the walls, I'll let you have another look at where we're at. Had a little bit of trouble with the paint colour. Opened the can up for the first time today. I've had it about a week, and it was purple. Well, it had a purple tinge to it, or tint, and it wasn't what it was supposed to be. So I was lucky I had a colour sample chart here. So I smeared half of that with the paint that was in the can, and it dried it out with a hairdryer, and it clearly wasn't the paint. So I took it back and mixed me up a new one. In the process, spilled 500 mils out of the can, putting it into the tinter. But not to worry, it's too hot to argue today. Mixed it up, and the colour was perfect this time round. So as you can see, I've started cutting in all around here. The paint is drying fairly quick because I do have the evaporative cooler on in the house, so I will need to give all of this a second going over, but it's going onto the walls quite nicely. It's very going on very smooth, and yeah, I'm hoping that in probably 2 hours time I can give it another coat, and once I've got all that done, maybe even later tonight when it cools down a little bit, I can start to actually roll the walls and maybe get the first coat on tonight and finish it off tomorrow. So hard to sort of tell what it's going to look like. It's definitely a modern colour. It's on the modern colour chart. I think I'm just used to seeing these cream coloured walls for the last 20 years, not to mention when I lived at home throughout my, up until my early 20s. Parents had similar colour on the walls, so yeah, it's sort of real hard to get away from that cream colour. But yeah, I think it's going to turn out nice. I think it's going to look good. So I'll leave it here, and I'll let you know where we get up to later. Okay, got the first coat on after having cut it in twice. So it's looking pretty good. By the time the second and third coats go on, it's going to be absolutely perfect. And I'm actually liking the colour now. Now that I can see it on the wall, it looks good. So I've done all around here as well. As you can see, it's patchy, but it's first coat, so should come up good. Hey everyone, it's the next day. So I'm about ready to put a second coat of paint on the wall, but there's a couple of little things that didn't quite work out during the cutting in process that I didn't notice. When the paint's wet, it's sometimes hard to notice. Normally when I cut in, if I use any of the like the tools, the accessories that you use to be able to cut in along like cornice and like a internal corner type roller tool. It's not a roller, but it's, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you can get these high lines in the paint, you don't notice them. I usually always go over and with a brush after I've done it, and I feather it in. As you can see there's no line, that's perfect. But obviously here, having been sort of late in the evening, I've missed that section there. And behind the door here, pretty much the same thing happened as well. So I had one up here, and there was one across here. So what I've done And who knows, it's probably a painter's trick already. But what I do is I just get a normal kitchen scourer and I wet it down rather than use sandpaper, and I just rub it. I've got whoops, a little step up still there. I've got one bit here. This actually looks like it might have been a spill, like a drip. So I just sort of concentrate on the high spot till I get it down a little bit until I see the colour from underneath, and then I'll sort of work it in different directions diagonally, and then the best way to do it is always in a circular motion. And if you sort of get this early on in the piece, you know, whether it's just after you've done the first coat or, you know, in the 2-hour drying interval, it'll come off pretty easy. But if you miss it, this is probably one of the easiest ways to sort of get rid of it. Now that's beautiful. And just wipe that down, and when the second coat goes over it, you won't notice that I will wash this out and give that another wipe down, but that's gone now. So we'll have a go here. These might actually be sucked up by the second coat of paint, but to be honest, there are a couple of really thick bits here, so I want to, you know, I don't want to go putting a second coat on and then realise, oh, it's still too high. I've got to put a third coat on, then I go put a third coat on and it's still too high. So, yeah, it's a pain, but I'm not a professional painter either. You know, pretty much like most of you that's watching the video. You're just a hobbyist like me. You paint when you sort of have to. But yeah, that's still a little bit high there. Just on that internal corner edge there. I can start to feel it through the sponge now. It's getting low. So there we go. I've still got enough material from where I've cut in, so I can just roll that now. I'm going to work my way up here, because I've still got about 3/4 of a metre there that I've got to do. But I think the rest of the plate, or maybe just here a little bit, but this one's very, very, very low. So I might be able to get away with that one. But the rest of the walls where I've cut in, because I hit it with a brush, and you can see the brush marks. I can anyway. I don't know if it'll pick it up in the video, but you can see where I've actually brushed the edges over. I've got a really, really high one here. It's amazing what you find when you when the paint actually starts to dry and settle into the plaster. So I'm gonna have to do that one as well, pretty much all the way up to the ceiling by the looks of it. But I really don't have much more wall in here, so there's definitely nothing on the big wall. As I said, it's just this internal corner here and here. So there's nothing on the flats of the wall, flat surfaces of the wall. So yeah, it's just the cutting in. I probably went a little bit too heavy on the paint, but geez, I haven't painted for a long time. So I did the caravan, but completely different animal. It wasn't plasterboard, it was what did we have? We had a combination of wall panelling, and we had a combination of laminate. So I had no idea how it was going to turn out. I know you can buy laminate paints, but I had what I had and I used it, and if it worked, it worked. If it didn't, it didn't. So it seems to have worked, but it's taken a hell of a long time to dry. Yeah, it took many weeks for it to dry. I don't know why. I think there was a fault with that can of paint. I bought that, it was 10 litres, and it went up for auction on eBay. It had never been opened, it was sealed. Had all the tinting codes on the can. Just the guy just thought it was too dark for what he wanted to do. I think he wanted to go a lighter colour like this. And as you can see, there's the remnants of the colour I bought off eBay many years ago. It's a lot darker, so it's somewhere right on the verge of the darkest brown, but not quite black. So yeah, I picked that up at auction. No one else bid it on it. I got 10 litres for $10, and I think it was Dulux. So I did alright there. But yeah, I don't know whether this guy had had this paint sitting around forever and a day, had it sitting out in the heat or whatever. But it just, I don't know, it just doesn't want to roll on smoothly. It's like all the paint's got lumps in it. But I've sifted it through a screen. There's no lumps in it. It just doesn't want to roll properly. It's just real. It's like you're using a really cheap ass roller and all the lint's falling off it. So yeah, I don't know. But it was good enough for the caravan. So yeah, all good. So I'm going to leave it here, guys, because it's a 40-degree day today. I've got the evaporative cooler on, so it's a lot cooler in the house, but it's still, you know, when you're rubbing away, you still work up a sweat, and regardless. So, and I've only got one beer left in the fridge, so I'll have to make a dash up to the bottle shop later. Yeah, I'll leave it here, and I'll let you know how we go. Cheers. Hi everybody, another day working on the house. I'm just about finished this room. The only thing I've got to do is I've just got to paint up this corner here. I've had to use a little bit of filler simply because the profiles of the skirtings are different. Back in the day they were imperial, these days they're metric. Back in the day they made them out of Tasmanian oak, these days they make them out of MDF. So yes, I could have ran another piece of MDF there, but the problem is it sticks out too far past this one, which means then I would have to replace this with MDF, which means I can't stain it, and it just continues around and it becomes a big nightmare. So it's in a corner. Once it's got a lick of paint on it, it'll be okay. Had a little bit of trouble here trying to put in some nails. For what reason, I don't know. There should be like a bottom plate there, or there should be at least an upright, a wall stud. I got my stud finder out, trying to find somewhere to nail to. Put the nails in, they were just going into plasterboard. So I tried some longer nails, still going into plasterboard. I could not find a fixing point anywhere along that wall except for right on the end here, which you would expect because you've got the main wall frame here. And so that was okay. So what I've had to do here is get the trusty old liquid nails out again. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about is that it could end up actually pulling the paper off the plasterboard if it decides to come back. So what I did is when I put the liquid nails in there, I've pushed it up hard, braced it, wedged it, and I'm just going to leave that there for a week and let the MDF create its own shape. By eye you can't visually pick it, but you know, it's a small price to pay considering that we didn't end up having to do any plaster work in this room. So yeah, everything's in. Doors all painted, pelmets on. The little door guide track is in, so that closes all nice. It doesn't touch, it doesn't rub. So that's all been done. Had a few little dramas trying to get that thing set up exactly right so that we had just enough gap all the way to the top. Again, as you know, these walls aren't straight, so it was a little bit of tweak here, tweak there, but it all opens nicely. Got no dramas. All the stoppers are in, so it only goes back so far, goes so far that way. Pelmet's longer than it needs to be, but it's not worth cutting it down. It looks neat there, so yeah. What else can I tell you? Let's have a look. Had to touch up a little bit of skirting along that very top edge. Obviously I didn't paint it properly, and I could see the natural colour coming through the top of it, so very gently I went along with the brush and without taping up as well, which is a damn miracle, and got all that done. I went round with this caulking compound that I bought and caulked up all these gaps. This was a vanilla colour, so I've done all around here. I've done along the door, but I'm going to need to redo it again, because as you do, like with any gap sealer, you know, you wipe it down with a cloth and sometimes you can stick your finger in a little bit too deep and pull it out. But you can see there's a bit there I haven't yet wiped off. So this is sort of just clean up. This isn't, I really don't need to do any work here anymore, so that's all good. All the nail holes that have been filled with putty, went round and used some teak stain on them. And then I noticed that for some reason, and I don't know when this happened, but from about this point down on this piece of architrave, it's like it had been sanded off. It was completely raw. So yeah, I had to put some Estopol on that last night. So I did that all the way up to the top. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way the room's come out. Everybody that's seen the colour so far absolutely loves it. They reckon the white just really works in well with the colour. That top track for the blinds, that used to be cream. I've repainted that in a white enamel just to make it look a bit better. These slats, yeah, they're still that pinky creamy colour. I don't like them. I probably will buy some new slats for there in a colour that suits the room, unless I get lucky and see some thrown out for hard waste. I'll just bring them home, wash them down and hang them. Can't be any worse than that. So yeah, everything's good. I had troubles with that track. This was a track that my father gave me. I couldn't get all the louvers to actually rotate and turn properly. So I just had to sort of like grab hold of each one of these mechanisms and just turn it until it clicked, hoping I wouldn't break it. You know, I did that to all. I managed to get through all of them, didn't break any of them, and it works beautiful now. So that's all good. So in here's finished. Technically I could move furniture in, but one thing I do have to, I don't have to do. I've actually got my eldest niece. I've employed her so she can make a little bit of extra money for uni. So she's going to help me finish all the painting that needs to be done on the house inside and out. She's an artist, so she's studying graphic art at uni, and what she's going to do is the jobs that her uncle is hopeless at doing. So as you can see up there underneath the cornice, that little lip, I don't have a fine enough hand to be able to paint that neatly. I do have an edging tool, and I tried to use it. I tried it over the top of the wardrobes here, and I made a bloody mess. For some reason, even though I had it pushed hard up against that internal corner, the edge, it still bled through, and it smeared it. And yeah, I don't want to have to be wiping, so she's going to come and do all the edging for me, clean all that up. So that's not really a job I have to worry about. So I'm happy, my job's done in here. Hopefully that gives you a decent idea of what it's like. I've got to give the floor a good mop now. It's been vacuumed. I've just got to give it a good mop, because as you can probably see in the footage, there's some streaks there on the floor, and all that's come from wiping down the gap filler, the caulking compound, and the cloth's been on the floor, and I've kicked it and it's sort of skated along the floor and just left watermarks. So yeah, all done. So pretty happy with that. So the door closes nice. Very happy with the gap at the bottom. Extremely happy with the gap at the bottom. It looks bloody great. I did throw a coat of paint on this the other day, but now I'm going to leave this to my niece. I'll actually take the doors off for her and she can paint them properly. I needed to freshen it up. It wasn't bad, but when you put a fresh coat of paint on that and you see how nice that looks, and then you look at this, you realise how aged it is. So we're going to do that properly. What I've done is I've moved in here and I've painted the back door in the same colour, and I've got this this water-based urethane, and I swear by this stuff. It's absolutely magnificent. Masters used to keep it. It's actually imported by Woolworths, believe it or not. I was reading on the back of there somewhere. It's imported by Woolworths. It's American, made in America. It's absolutely beautiful stuff to use. It's water-based, so you don't need terps or anything. So what I've started to do is I've started to paint the door. I made a few cock-ups. Stupid me. Never tend to look past sort of eye height. But up the top here, this door's been flipped upside down. So the weather strip used to be along the top there, and there was some holes and stuff up there and a little bit of deterioration and stuff, and I actually forgot to fix it. And one of the reasons it totally went out of my mind is I have to cut. This is going to be hard to open, guys, but I've got to take, I've marked it on the back here, I've got to take we've got to plane some off the top. We've got to plane about 5 mil off on the far end down to nothing, and I've got a strip up there, up on, I don't know if you can see it, guys, maybe you can see it, I can't see it. There's a strip up there that's got to get nailed to the top of the door. That's a filler piece which you can buy anywhere, any hardware for doors. So that's got to go on top, and that'll give me a nice seal. But what I did is I painted the door, as I was saying, I painted the door, and then I thought I'd finished everything. So then I went and got this clear stain, and I started to stain it, or seal it in this urethane. And then I stood up, sort of on a step, and my eye caught the top edge, didn't it? So I had to then go fill it, wait for it to dry, sand it, but I had to wait till the urethane was dry, of course. I could fill it, but I couldn't sand it till the urethane was dry. Otherwise we would have had speckles of putty everywhere. So the door's in about 3 different stages at the moment. But it will come up okay. It'll come up okay. I've got to do a little bit of sanding around here. That's not actually a run mark. That was a defect in the wood, in the actual wood. You can see some rings here. Yes, there's all this stuff, all this hardware will cover it back up again. But you know, it's an outside door. So what I've decided to do as well is paint all the door frame, because it was starting to really look weathered. So I filled all the nail holes. I've given this a coat of the same colour as you can see. I'm going to put that urethane on it, which is good. It's an indoor-outdoor urethane. I've done all this side as well, all on the outside here. I figured it's better to seal it up with something than nothing, because it's just going to get worse if I don't. This was a repair here. This was actually a fill-in, and I've done the same. I've actually used some filler and got it really nice and sanded it back nice and hard. And now when the let's have a look, where is it? I think it's this big one here. When this goes back on, you'll never even know that a repair was done there. So I'm really happy with that. Here I've had to do another repair because So I shouldn't close that because I've just painted it. I had to do another repair here because on the old door I had on here, obviously the lock went into here. On this current door that we have, the lock goes into here. So I had to fill this. So what I've done is I've used the good old Timbermate stuff. This is really, really good stuff. I didn't like it at first, but I'm really starting to like it now. Because you can wipe it down whilst it's still wet, but then you can sand it when it's really dry. But it just comes off so easy. It's not like trying to sand builder's bog. It's just really, really good stuff to use. And the thing is, it was a little dry when I opened it up, but it tells you on the back of the container you can add water. So I just put a couple of drops of water in there. Although it's sort of like a putty, it's a solid mass. I just shook it up, and I've got this beautiful consistency in there now. So it usually takes about, I had to go onto the website, it takes 20 to 30 minutes to dry, and then you can sand it, drill it, paint it, do whatever you want. So what I'm going to do here, I've got to give this one more sand. I've tried to paint around it to try and save some time because I've got to work on my road bike this afternoon. So I've got to give this one more sand here. I had a little low just up against the edge here. So sand that, and then I've got some stain. It's the stain that all my kitchen cabinets were done in. I still have half a tin of that, and that's what I actually did all the nail holes, like where I filled the nails. That's what I used on that. I used the stain and stained all that putty, so it didn't stand out. So I'll do the same here. I'll stain this, and then I'll throw some what do they call it? Urethane, but it's oil-based urethane. It's not the water-based one. I actually have some wattle, oil-based urethane. So I'll do that, and I've got to do down here too, because we had to modify this trim when I retiled, and it was a bit grungy there. There was still old paint from when the previous owners had owned the house. For some reason, I never really got in there properly and sanded it back. So it's all sanded back now. It just needs a coat of urethane on it. So all this section here will get re-urethaned, which should be good. I think I've just got a bit of paint up there. That's a good thing with water base. Whoops, nearly fell. Trying to reach. Yeah, it's a good thing with water base. It comes off pretty easy. So yeah, it's everything's coming along okay. This door, this is actually a brown door. It's a Mission Brown, as you can see. It's better on the outside. I replaced the handle a number of years ago. I'm actually going to paint the door in this satin black. So it's a good steel door. It's not worth getting rid of. So I'll just take the fly wire out, give it a good wash down, clean it, just dismantle the lock assembly, and paint this up black. And this should look really, really good. And I've got another security door coming when I go down to buy it, from Bunnings, $139, more modern looking. It doesn't have all the metal grate on the front. It's just got like that, I guess they call it ampler mesh or something on it. Very nice. It's better suited for the front door. For the back, I'm not really particularly fussed, but this will come up really good. It's a good solid metal door. It's not aluminium, so I'm keeping it. It's been a good door since I've been here. It's obviously been a good door when the previous owners owned it, because it's still going. So and for the price of a new handle, which cost me about 15 bucks, you know, why would I want to go and spend 140 when I could spend 15? What I'm also going to do when I paint that black, There's a couple of other things I'm going to do black as well, and it's probably going to be a little bit of a contrast, but at the moment it's a contrast as well. All the doors and window frames in this house are mission brown. That's the way the house was built in 1982. But what I can't work out is all the sliding door fly wires are all gold. So all the frames are brown and all the doors are gold, even though they had all black hardware. So I don't know what the deal with that is. So what I'm thinking about doing is taping up everything on the outside, tape up all the glass, all the brickwork, and just spray all the frames and the door. So from the outside it'll be black, it'll look really nice. So you'll have a black door and a black door here. I don't really want to go around and do the windows because there's so many windows on the house. I remember when I first bought it, I went around and I did them brown to clean them up a little bit, and I did it on the inside and it just took forever, and there was that much overspray and it turned into a mess in the end. So the finish turned out good, but it was just so time consuming, and I ended up getting, even though I put drop sheets down on the carpet, there was still overspray that settled on the carpet, and to this day the carpet's still stained in spots. So painting inside, if it happened inside and my niece wanted to do it, it'd all be done with a brush, a fine brush, so it doesn't leave any lines, any brush marks. But if I can keep all the doors uniformed on the outside of the house, it'll look really good. I've got 4 external doors. Obviously the back door that we just looked at, we've got this door, so I can keep the back of the house black from the outside. We've got this door here. This is exactly the same. It's a mission brown door frame, but the security door is gold. So I don't know what the deal with that is. And then obviously the main front door will have the brand new security door on it, which will be black. So all my doors will be black from the outside, which will look nice. It doesn't really faze me too much that there's a brown inside, because if you leave them all brown inside, there's some consistency. That's why I've sort of left wood grain in here. First thing my sister said when she saw the room, she says, "Oh, it's magnificent, but if it was my house, I'd paint all the skirtings." And I said, well, you have to take into consideration that there's a theme that runs through the house. You know, I do have wood grain skirtings, and I like things to be framed. That microwave's going to go when we do a bathroom conversion in here, but I do like things to be framed. And where I have, as you can see, sorry about the little budgie feathers there, but yeah, as you can see, I like to have a frame around a window. I've made some exceptions in here. So without showing you too much of the mess in my master bedroom, the front section of the house, pretty much white skirting boards all the way through, as you can see. Tried to stay with white through here, but again around the windows, around the wardrobe, we've stayed with the natural wood for framing. Don't look. Mess. And same around the window, we've framed the window. So I'm going to cover the camera up. Don't look. Alright, so yeah, we've stayed with a theme. This is just a junk room at the moment. Half of this stuff was out of that back room, and some of it's out of the garage. We've got a steering column there, a motorbike seat. But yeah, you can see the same thing there. We've got the white skirtings all around, but around the wardrobes we've kept the frame, and around the windows we've kept the frame as well. So I've got to take into consideration that there is a theme running through the house. But I love natural wood. I always have. All my bass guitars were always natural wood when I played, and yeah, I even changed the steering wheel out on my hot rod after 20 years because I couldn't stand the black. I wanted a wood grain one, so I went and got a wood grain one. So yeah, I love natural wood, and I'm quite happy with this. This is sort of still following the theme of the front of the house, where I've got all the white skirting boards, but I've got the doors and windows framed. So yeah, all good. What else? I've had to do a few little repairs here and there around the place. Glue a few little things on, fix a few little things, but yeah, it's all coming together. I've still got to fit those exterior vents. If you see that one up in the eave, I've still got to go around and fit another 11 of those. I have sent inquiries to about 11 gutter downpipe and fascia companies. I've made inquiries with several roofing companies about doing the tiles, getting all the tiles sealed up. I had one quote which was absolutely fucking ridiculous, and they will not get the job. But all the roofing mobs have said you've got to get your gutters, fascias and downpipes sorted first before we even touch your roof. So I should be getting quite a few inquiries coming back this week to make times to come and view the property and give me a price on doing this. I'm going to get continuous guttering, so no joins in it. I'm going to get colour bond. I'm going to get the fascia covers. So I've got to go around and repair all my fascias and go and get a length of fascia to repair the front corner of the house, which that section's really rotted out. So I'll prep all the fascias for the guys, and then all they have to do is just come in and fit up the gutters and the downpipes, and Bob's your uncle. These days could be your auntie, who knows? So yeah, we'll get that done first. Another thing I was looking at, and this is only based off the first quote I got. There's a company, a very famous company in Australia called Roof Seal. Now they do roofs, but all types of roofs, roof restorations, tiles and colour bond. But they also supposedly do gutters and downpipes. Now, if you get a full roof restoration, which mine would be, supposed to get gutters and downpipes thrown in for nothing. Well, guy come out, really nice guy, he's just one suburb over, come out and did a quote for me on everything, but he split the quote into two lots. Obviously, he did the quote on the roof restoration, and then he did a quote for the gutters, fascias, and downpipes. So, and he was saying that they use the best stuff in the business, and they do. I'll give them that. They've got the best stuff in the industry. You know, they're not using concrete sealers to seal concrete tiles. They're using a proper made sealer specifically for tiles. They're using the best stuff. I couldn't argue with him on that. The proof was there. I could see it. And yes, they are a very reputable company. But when he came back with a quote to just rebed what tiles needed rebedding, which was not many because I've done them all, to point it, repoint it, pressure wash the roof, repaint the roof, then get a gutter. This is where it gets really funny, because they advertise free gutters and downpipes, and even on their website they advertise gutters and downpipes, and they have all the different profiles and the colours and everything you can get, but they don't actually do it. And he was telling me we don't do a lot of that, even though they advertise it, and that you'll get it for free if you get a full roof restoration. They actually, he says, we don't buy enough to get good prices on it. So the gutters, if you get gutters and downpipes and fascias done by us, it's going to cost you a lot more. I said, okay, well, so what's the price without... Give me the total price, and then give me the two individual prices for roof and then gutters. He goes, it'll cost you nearly $21,000 to get everything done. I said, fuck me dead. I said, I didn't win Tats Lotto, mate. So what's the price for just to get the roof done without the gutters? He said, oh, well, yeah, you'd be better to try and find another gutter guy because he'll be a lot cheaper. He's probably got more buying power than us. I said, okay, well, what's the price for just the roof? And he says, $8,790. And as you do, you're all polite and you sort of say, yeah, it's not bad. But fucking no way am I going to pay $9,000 and then still have to pay for gutters and everything else on top of that. So, as soon as he pulled out of my driveway, his quote went in the bin. I've rang a couple of other mobs, but I thought of something else as well. Now, if most roofing mobs are going to come back with that type of price of $8,790, which I don't think most of them will. I don't want a quick blow-over job, like a $1,650 job, because that's fucking shit. They use shit staff, and within 18 months, all the paint's flaking off, it's fading. I want something mid-ranged. So if I was to spend $4,000 on a roof restoration, I'd be happy, because that would see my time out here in this house, and then the next owner can take care of it. But I want the roof looking good when it comes time to sell. So, and I reckon that will be in the next 5 years. But one of the other things I was thinking of is that if all the quotes come in really, really high like that, like $8,000, fucking rip the concrete tiles off and go with a ColourBond roof. I haven't had quotes on ColourBond, but surely it's got to be cheaper. There's a roofing place 2 suburbs down from me called NP Roofing. Fantastic mob of people down there. I could just I could remove all. Me and my mate could remove all the all the roof tiles ourselves, palletize them all, sell them off to a roofing tile mob in Preston. Pre-order all the roofing, get it delivered here on site. It's not hard to put up ColourBond roofing. You cut all your angles with an angle grinder and you just put your ridge capping on. It's not hard. It's no harder than a garage. So I was thinking maybe that might be a cheaper alternative. And it never has to be painted. It'll never leak. And if it does, it's only going to be one of the rubber caps on a screw that's dried out and split. So it's a lot lighter, which will take a lot of weight off this building, which will help with a lot of the flexing and the plaster cracking and bits and pieces. So yeah, I've got a couple of options there, but I've got to make a decision really soon as to which way I go, and that's going to be based on quotes from these roofing mobs. I've contacted one company that does all roofs, all types of roofing. So they do tiles, whether it's cement or terracotta, slate, they do ColourBond. So I can get them to quote on restoring my existing roof, and then I can say, okay, if I was to strip all the tiles off, what would it cost me for you to redo the roof in ColourBond? So yeah, we've got some options there. But we got to get it done, because even though we've had a really, really hot summer here in Melbourne, there has been the odd day of rain, and when it rains, it pours. Melbourne's extreme. It's never just a little sun shower. It'll be like a downpour for half an hour that'll flood half of Melbourne. So yeah, I need to sort of get the roof happening as soon as possible. All the rest of the stuff, as I've said in other videos, like painting all the eaves and everything like that, you know, that can all come at a later stage if I get the fascia colour bond covers for it, or I don't have to repair the fascias. Oh, sorry, I don't have to paint the fascias, I have to repair them though. But at least got to repair them. I've got to do that front corner. But yeah, I can save a little bit of time there. Trying to think, because I haven't done a video for a long time on the house, and I do have lots of footage sitting on this camera and on the computer that I just haven't had time to put together. So when I finally get around to doing it, you're going to see probably some stuff in the first videos to come that I've probably covered in this one.